36th round of EV Gaming's Losers Bracket podcast. Tons of news in the world of esports. Awesome guests this week. Rod from King of the Couch. Cheese. Asylum, our new League of Legends contributor. Tons going on. We are so excited to be here. And I do believe we've got an energetic crowd with us today. That definitely includes Mr. Jerry Prohaska. I know he's pumped. Jerry, talk to me. What's going on, sir?
I don't know. It's just one of those weeks. There's so much good stuff coming up. We've got King of the Couch this weekend, which is fantastic. We've got Devastation this weekend. That rolls right into MLG Orlando. There's just so much going on in the next 2 weeks in gaming. And so much has just happened. I mean, it's just a good time to be in and around competitive gaming. So, I mean, in a lot of ways, there's going to be a lot of challenges, but I think it's still at all pretty interesting. Let's see, as you said, we're going to have Asylum, who is going to be our League of Legends contributor, come talk about what's going on in China with IEM. Late tonight, there will be a showdown as well as the third place match. We have Kurt is joining us as always, and John Lunsford, and I'll turn it over to them as well. We're going to have from King of the Couch, Rod Lane, who's going to be joining us, and our very own Cheese, Albert, is going to be with us too. So this should be good. So let me start with you, Kurt. How are you this fine evening?
I cannot complain at all. Cannot complain. Tons of matches and esports content to watch this week. It's been all kinds of stuff going on, and at all nights of the hours. I'm not sure who's been able to actually stay up through through actually getting up to go to work in the morning and watch all these matches. But there's a ton of great content in Counter-Strike, in Starcraft, and League of Legends. You name it, it's there. So.
Yeah, I woke up and all of a sudden I found out that Idra won IEM China. And then we'll talk a little bit about Slasher's, try to say that, Slasher's show, Fuck Slasher. We'll talk about that a little bit. Appreciate his honesty. We'll talk about a bet he made and things like that. Sadly, on some sad news though, our co-host John Lunsford Phoenix, well, I guess it's not sad. I guess it's really good news. You just got a new job, and that's going to take you a little bit away from gaming. So tell everybody where you're working, what you're going to be doing, and congratulations on your new job.
Well, thank you. I am pretty much doing what I'm doing right now, but on the radio and, doing a little production work. Officially named as a producer for a new sports talk station, if you want to go to 973thezone.com.
Awesome.
And, yeah. But
what are you going to be covering on that show?
Being in the South, in Alabama, obviously 90% of what we do is college football. So, we're the official Alabama station is on another station, and we're looking to pick up Auburn, cover them, national champions last year, and some of the local schools, do some more local stuff. Of course, I played Division III football here, so it's nice to have a radio station that covers that kind of stuff as well. Plus, we cover a lot of NASCAR, a lot of pro sports, something that doesn't get covered a lot down here since it's a college football world. But, it should be fun. A lot of good experience and maybe lead on to something even bigger.
That is fantastic. Well, congratulations on that. It is good to graduate from college and get a job, especially in this economy. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right. With that being said, Jason, I think before we jump into esports news tonight, I'm so excited about these events. How about we bring on Cheese and Rod from King of the Couch, and we'll get them talking. Does that sound like a plan, Jason?
That sounds like a great plan to me. I mean, hey, let's switch things up a bit. So let's bring him in. We've got Rod from King of the Couch here. He's been on the show a couple times. You guys know who he is by now. And we also have one of our Smash Brothers players, VV Cheese, Albert. We've got them both joining us this week. Let's start with Rod. Rod, great to have you back on the show. How have you been, sir?
Hey, I've been great. It's a great time for gaming, and it's a pleasure to be back on the show.
I swear to God, every time I hear Rod, I think to myself, there is a man who is in charge of whatever he is doing. I would hate to see you upset. I really mean that.
Well, I got sometimes that defensive tackle comes out in me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just an intense guy. I like things to be done in a certain way, and I love the gaming atmosphere. And with that type of attitude, it's the best for our organization. It's also the best for the gamers. So that's what we're looking for.
Well, obviously, people keep coming back to your events, and they love having the opportunity to compete locally in the Northeast, and you provide them with that opportunity. And also somebody who I haven't spoken about, but who I will take credit for introducing to sushi finally, Albert, VV Cheese. Cheese, how you doing tonight?
Doing great, as always. Loving gaming right now. Everything's fantastic.
So you're going to be running the Brawl at Rod's event here at King of the Couch. Is that right?
I am, absolutely. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, before we get into game specifics, I'm going to throw it back to you, Rod. This is the big weekend. It's showtime. Tell us a little bit about the games. And let's start with the games. What games do you have at the event this time around?
All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna go with Madden 12. That's gonna be our debut event for the public. We did a charity event a couple weeks ago that was successful, but we're gonna open that up to the public. We're also gonna do NBA 2K12, which just dropped today. It's a very short notice, but we're just gonna introduce that, into our sports gaming and get that hyped up. Call of Duty Black Ops. Which will be MLG's. Our 4v4 will be MLG sponsored, meaning that the winners will be getting team passes for MLG. We'll be running Pokemon. We'll be running our buddy King Daddy DMAC. We're expecting a huge crowd for that. Halo Reach, our 4v4 for Halo Reach will also be sponsored by MLG again this time around for a team pass for the winners. We have Super Smash Brothers Brawl, which is going to be hosted by VVV Cheese. He's going to help us out and get this a real hyped event. And last but not least, Gears of War 3 debut event. So we are looking for a gigantic, monstrous, possibly record crowd. We're excited. The information is out there. People know about it. The feedback has been off the charts. Constant phone calls, emails, texts, etc. Seems like everybody's been waiting for this, and it's a wide variety of games. There's something for everybody here, and we're so excited and we're ready to go.
That is awesome to hear. Well, I want to start out, if I can, a little bit about the two games that are kind of established on the pro circuit right now, Halo and Call of Duty. Are those going to have the exact same settings that one would go if they were at an MLG event?
Yeah, the 4v4s will have the exact same settings. We're going to do something a little bit different with the 2v2s for Halo. We're going to use there's a popular setting called No Bloom that people have been talking about. So we're going to mess with that a little bit for the 2v2s. But the 4v4s will basically be the same as MLG. We're actually, we have the same monitors, the Asus 23-inch monitors. So it's going to be basically, if you come out here, to get your timing down, to get your teamwork down, to get some reps on the land, this is the place to go, because when you go to MLG, it'll be replicated quite well. So those two events are definitely going to mirror what MLG is doing. And like I said, for the Halo 2v2, we're going to add a little spice to that. We're going to do a No Bloom tournament, which is a little bit of a change in settings, just to see how that goes around. But pretty much we're ready to go, and these guys are going to get some nice practice for MLG.
Awesome to hear. And again, the winners of that will get an MLG pass courtesy of Major League Gaming. All right, let's talk about we'll get to Brawl, right? But first I want to talk about Pokemon, because you had it on last time. And it's my understanding that as far as the last event, it was a really pretty big success. Anything going to change up between the last time and this time? And tell, for those who may not be that familiar with Pokemon, exactly what's going to be going on.
Well, Pokemon is a game that's played on the Nintendo DS, where people battle each other with their characters. The Nintendo DS is a handheld device, no monitors involved, no electricity, nothing. Just you come with your Pokemon set on the game, and then you just play each other. King Daddy DMAC is probably the world's most popular Pokemon celebrity, if you want to call him that. The guy has an incredible following, well respected throughout the world for this game, and he's going to be our host. One of the things that's going to be a little bit different is our location. Our location, we're going to be in Bergen County, New Jersey this time. Last time we were in Morristown, our last tournament. Bergen County is actually a stone's throw from the George Washington Bridge. We're about 5 miles from New York City, so it's a little bit different flavor. So you're going to get a little bit of different crowd. So there's a different economic status up there, and a lot of people are close to the city, so we expect to see a lot more people from the city coming to this event. So the Pokemon should be off the charts. Anything less than 150 people would be, almost a disappointment at this point, because this is well anticipated, and we've been waiting for this for a long time.
Well, from what I've heard, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think all things are looking pretty good, and I think, considering what I've heard from the last event, I think you're going to see more people coming out for Pokemon, because obviously the word is spread that it's a well-run event and good things have happened. All right, I want to talk now a little bit about Brawl, if we can hop right onto Brawl. Cheese, so talk a little bit about, are there going to be any changes between the last event and this one, and a little bit about how the new sort of rule set, the Unity rule set with the MK ban, will that be in effect here? Talk to me, sir.
All right. Well, the big news has been the Unity rule set banning Meta Knight, but that's going to remain optional until after Apex, which is what everyone's looking forward to. So we're actually going to be leaving MK Legal, running the same Unity rule set from last time, just to make sure that everyone from our region is really well practiced for Apex. We don't want to take Meta Knight away just yet, because he's still going to be a big threat with the international players coming in with those top MKs. So we're going to run MK Legal Unity set for this tournament and the next one, and then after that we'll probably be making the change over to Meta Knight banned for all tournaments after that. So pretty much you're going to be expecting the same thing we had last time. I'll be doing the pools, amateur brackets, lots of cool events for the players who aren't necessarily right there at the top. We do have a really nice pop bonus offered by KOTC. If we break 50 entrants, we'll be getting a nice big pop bonus, so I really want to see everybody come through for that. Other than that, it's going to be pretty much your standard awesome Smash tournament in a fantastic venue. We have tons and tons of setups, some of the best tournament staff I can think of. I'll be fully in charge of everything. Our own VV Chibo will be helping me out as well. And I believe we're even going to have a really high-quality live stream provided by Chibo.
Awesome. So to make sure that I got all this right, we've got MK9 being left in using the current Unity set. You have Chibo streaming, is that right? He's going to be controlling, so there will be a stream for this event?
That's correct.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, and Rod, it appears, you're saying that King of the Couch, if you guys break 50 entries, then that's going to increase the prize pool. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're doing something, to encourage the players and everything. Smash Brothers is one of the most popular things we have out here on the East Coast. And we just want to recognize some of those guys. Apex is coming up. Alex Strife and those guys do a great job on that. So we're just going to give these guys some practice and also, a little incentive to come out. So we're definitely going to do a little something for those guys. It's also great to have a guy like Cheese. I do that with all my events. I just try to get somebody that's quality. Respected in the community, and I'm pretty much hands off of the guys' individual tournaments. I let them run it their way, so I'm just very happy and excited to have Cheese involved. He's a class act, quality guy, and we expect big things.
Cheese, he has no idea who you are. How did you fool him like that? All right, I got a couple things from Twitter here. This one you may not be ready to answer, but it seemed like a really good question. It was regarding PC gaming. Is that something that could possibly be in the future of King of the Couch? I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but I thought it was a good question. And I wonder, is that something, because I imagine the hardware there becomes a challenge because you have to have a good partner for the hardware. But could you ever see PC title or anything at King of the Couch?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And that's all about getting the right partner, like you said. We've been doing this for a long time with the consoles, and our console setups are pretty solid as far as the expenses go, are not that far off from what PCs are these days. If you really think about it, once you get the console, we have over 100 monitors, this and that, so that won't be a problem. But yeah, we're definitely looking into that. After the new year starts, January, February, we're going to be really exploring and looking for some partners to start up with that. But that's definitely going to be on the horizon for King of the Couch on the East Coast.
All right, I had another question from somebody who I thought raised a good question. We talked about this a little bit on our first show, but to recap, Rod, why do you do this insane thing and giving yourself this headache to run events like King of the Couch?
Well, it's a couple things. Like I said, I used to be a gamer. When I had the time, before you get married, before you have bills, before things set in, and I love the atmosphere of gaming, and I'm a competitor, a high school, college football player, former high school coach, so I love the competitive end of things. People have niches, and there's certain things that people can do well. Like I'm pretty good at organizing, getting things together. So with my skills deteriorating as far as being able to compete with some of these younger guys, plus my knack for organization and business skills, I decided let me put those things together. So that's pretty much why I do. Because I love the atmosphere, I love the competition, and since I can no longer compete, I figure I'd get on the administrative end. We've been running for pretty much every month for 8 years in a row. 7 years, going on 8 years in a row. Every week, every month, which is it could be stressful, it could be hard, difficult. But that's just what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you watch extreme skateboarding. There's people that can skateboard, and there's people that skydive. There's something out there. There's somebody that can do it well, and this just happens to be one of my callings. So basically it's a lot for the enjoyment, because there is a lot of different things you have to deal with, scenarios. I deal with 6 or 7 different gaming communities, gaming cultures, and it's a lot on my plate, but I welcome it and I enjoy it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about those gaming cultures. You have Gears of War 3 on the event, and let's start out with the sort of details. I know you guys took some community feedback. You got your rules sort of solidified. Those are on the website. This is also going to be streamed. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's going to be streamed. We've partnered up with the people over at GearsCon. Lauren Primo has been extremely helpful with that, and it's going to be live streamed on Twitch TV. All that's on the website also. So we're looking for a big, probably international audience. One of the things that I wanted to do with Gears, before Gears dropped and everything, Jerry and I. A lot of his players were coming to my events, a lot of the VVV players. I like the style of VVV. I like the way they did things. I like the class. So I got in touch with Jerry, and I hooked up with that. We have Cheese here that's running my Smash event. They have a lot of Halo players. They have Gears. They have every type of player you can imagine. There's somebody in VVV playing it. We were working on a couple different deals, and I was approached by Gears Up at the time to do some streaming, just specifically for Gears of War.
Are they still around, or do they?
They're sort of merged, with GearsCon. That's sort of like the same thing at this point. They sort of like became one entity. But I knew some of the guys from Raw Talent, Immortal Spawn, and a couple of those guys. NJ Cubano have been coming to my events. They were like high school kids. So I knew those guys from a long way, and I'm big on loyalty and knowing people and just like quality people. And Immortal Spawn, those guys just convinced me, let's do a little something with these guys. So this will actually be our premier event as far as stream with, and as far as the Gears of War team goes. So we're going to try this out, and we're looking forward to big things on that. The Gears community is something that I'm pretty much hands off. Like Cheese will tell you that also. I like to get my people and let them pretty much steer the ship. My man right now he's actually working. I did call him to try to get him on the show. Is Nunez. Nunez is a well-respected Gears of War player out here on the East Coast, and he's actually working at Lowe's. I don't know, cashiering or something. But he was not available for the phone call tonight. But he's my man. He's once again, I've known that kid since he may have been in 9th, 10th grade or something. Next thing you know, these guys are grown men. They're out in the world, and that's the type of environment we have at King of the Couch. A lot of these people grew up with us, over the past 7-8 years, and with that, I like to work with the guys that I know, respect, and trust, and that's how that worked out. So my man is Nunez. His information is also on my website, and he's my Gears of War correspondent. So he's the man for that.
Gotcha. So bringing in the community itself. Well, with it coming onto the Major League Gaming Pro Circuit as planned for next year, I'm sure this is not going to be your last Gears of War event. Oh,
no, definitely not. We were pretty big on Gears 2 and Gears 1. Actually, we were very strong on the East Coast with that also. So it's nothing new to us. We're going back into it. We're going all stops. We got 24 stations going, just to start us out. If we need more, we can do more. We're going to be 24 stations. That's just for Gears alone. That's for Gears of War alone, by the way. So we have 3 stations of 8 to get the 2v2s and a 4v4 started. So we're looking to really make this a blockbuster event. One of the things about King of the Couch, NJHalo events, a lot of people, they talk, it takes too long. It's a long time there. It's a long time there because, sometimes we have 30, 40 teams show up, and that's for like a local LAN. And that's an awesome number.
Don't worry, that's about how many show up for Major League Gaming's Call of Duty. So you're right up there.
Well, yeah, and we have the task of having to do some of these things in one day. So with those type of numbers, we're blessed to have that. A lot of guys say, Rod, one of the teams was there at 10 o'clock at night, but you know what? My event was over at 10 a.m. and I started at 9 a.m. Some of my, some of my local tournament directors. So they would love to have that. They would love to have that situation.
Exactly. It's a good problem to have, right?
Absolutely. The Smash tournaments, like I said, we're looking for something real special from Cheese and those guys. The Smash community is a very, very unique community. They're very tight fit, and that's why it's very, very important to get somebody in there that they know and respect. Like pretty much, like they may know my name, but I don't hold much weight in that community. So it's very good that I surround myself by certain guys.
Don't fool yourself again. Neither does Cheese. They just love to pick on him. He's the guy who always volunteered to be the leader in gym class, and everybody gives him a hard time. Isn't that right, Cheese?
Yeah.
It's like, plus, just to refresh my memory, don't you take bowling as a class?
I was, in fact, the captain of my high school bowling team.
Just wanted to throw that out there. So, yeah, Rod, I think you did probably pick the right person to do that. I mean, Cheese has obviously been in the community for a long time and has done a lot of work on the forums themselves for Smash. So, I mean, I think that's fantastic. Anything for this event that you yourself are going to be particularly interested in? I know when you're organizing, you're going in 5 different directions, and then somewhere along the time, you know what, I want to keep an eye in on this. I'm really curious to see how this goes. What is it going to be for this event?
Well, Gears of War 3 is definitely going to be the thing. That's going to be that's the big dog. That's the main attraction here, and we're definitely going to be concentrating to see what happens over there. Also, you guys, they have some people that are pros, quote unquote, with some of the older games, Gears of War 1, Gears of War 2, but this is a whole new game. And what happens with King of the Couch, one of our nicknames is the launch pad of champions. We've had numerous, some of the biggest Smash Brothers have started out with us. Halo guys, Call of Duty guys, you name it. Many people have started with us and went on to different stardoms. So we're looking to find the next big thing. And you know what? And I can assure you that on October 8th, over here in New Jersey, we're going to see one of the best Gears of War tournaments you're going to see in the country, and you're going to probably see some of the best teams come out and emerge right here. This will be their birthplace, their launch point. So we're definitely going to be watching over that because it's a new game. We're just looking for the new talent.
Indeed, sir. I would agree. So, yeah, I would say that one of the challenges, too, is that when you have an event like this, I think one of the big things is that, a lot of, especially when you have a new game, I think one of the challenges when you have a new game is that you want to make sure the community feels good about the settings. And fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on your view, I think that, the Gears of War community, it's safe to say, has not itself agreed on what the settings are going to be.
Yeah. Right now, there's different views on what the settings are, et cetera. And I think a lot of people are waiting on MLG to do something to decide. It's very tough to be the first thing out, when something like this comes, because you're almost like setting the standard. But I think, our goal is to really reach the newer players and get a lot of people in here. So we think that, the way that we have, that Nunes has set up the settings, will give everybody an opportunity to come out there and explore. This is something that's going to evolve. By the next event, it's probably going to change. But this is something that we're just trying to. It's hard to, no matter what you do, there'll be someone that would, that will prefer something. I've gotten maybe 65 or 70 different emails, pros and cons, going both ways for some of this, some of that. So it's just.
Well, Gears is serious business, Rob.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully after this event, we'll get that universal rule set that everybody pretty much agrees on, and we can move forward. But like I said, we're the first one, so when you're the first one out, there's a couple tweaks that are going to have to come with it, little bumps and bruises, but it's just something that's going to happen. We do. We're also going to have one of my associates is going to have an event out in California, Primetime Gamers. So he'll be doing similar rule sets. So we'll get the feedback from the West Coast gamers versus the East Coast gamers, and hopefully, we'll come up with a universal rule set with the help of VVV and all these other organizations out there that are really in the grind for in the Gears community.
That's outstanding. So yeah, we do have a weekend full. California primetime gamers, obviously in the New York area in the Northeast. We have your event, NJHalo King of the Couch, and then obviously in Phoenix, Arizona is Devastation. So there is plenty going on this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is a big time, and out here on the East Coast, this is tournament season for the East Coast. When I say the East Coast, we get cold weather out here. The kids are back in school. It's September, October, November. Those months are like the peak time for gaming. And with the new releases coming out, and then you have Call of Duty coming out next month. Like this is Christmas for gamers out in this area. A couple months early. So we're looking forward to a few months of some real solid events.
Well, Rod, Cheese, I want to thank you both so much for coming onto the show. We're going to move on to news. I want to wish you the very best event. I want to say that, we look forward to watching the stream. We'll be promoting the stream for you. Hopefully everything with GearsCon works well and their stream's solid, so I'll be excited to see that. Cheese, I want to wish you a very good luck. Hopefully you'll rope them in and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Cheese, before you go, any shout-outs, anything you want to say?
I just want to give a shout-out to the URC, Unity Ruleset community, for finally getting rid of the stupid bat.
All right. We'll let them know that. And Rod, any final shout-outs, anything you want to say before we let you go?
Yeah, just everybody, we're looking forward to a great event, a lot of different multiple games, and, we're just hoping that everybody comes out and supports. Shout out, of course, to VVV Gaming. Shout out to GearsCon. Primetime Gamers over there in California is going to have an event. So we're just looking forward to everything. And also, of course, Jerry. Jerry's, the type of guy, we touch base once or twice a week from one way or another, either calling or Twitter, this or that. And I just want to thank Jerry for giving us the platform and also the support. He's always, retweeting the little things, emails stuff is on point. Answering, the guy is pretty solid. So
enough about me, Rod. I have it easy. You do that the work, and I just have to tell people about it. So the credit is yours, sir.
Well, it's just the little things, man. It's the little things, and sometimes the little things really make a difference. I just want to thank you for the help that you've been giving the gaming community, and we look forward to a great event.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. Have a good night. I'm sure we'll be talking before the event. I'm definitely going to be around this weekend to watch the stream, and hopefully all that goes well. And I'm sure we'll have you on again soon to talk about the last event and then give us word on the next one. So good luck this weekend, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, take care and good luck.
Thanks.
Jason, John, Kurt, I think the one thing I like about Rod is every time I listen to him, I know he's 100% in control of what he's doing. Now, Kurt, if I'm correct, you don't have a lot of experience with, because primarily, not to pigeonhole you, of course, but you are primarily a PC gamer, and that's your background, right?
Yeah, that is definitely my background, but I am actually getting a lot better with keeping up my my console stuff, mainly since we've gotten into MLG through Starcraft, so it's only been going on for about a year or so, but I've gotten a little bit better, but that's mostly fighting games too, so, it's almost like I keep, when I get up on one thing, I drop another, so it's hard to keep up with everything when with the console at least. So.
No, trust me, it's if you were to start talking about the history of Counter-Strike 1.6, I would definitely defer to your wisdom. When you read me talking about rosters and things, I don't nearly have any kind of background that you do there. But you mentioned Major League Gaming. Let's talk a little bit about MLG and what's in the news there.
Huge stuff.
I don't even know where to begin. I'm going to first do a little VVV plug first. For those of you that don't know or haven't been following it, the kind of partnerships that Major League Gaming forms sometimes, cue dramatic music, right? The kind of partnerships they form sometimes go unnoticed because it may not be the core focus of what we call quote-unquote eSports. But one of our teams, VVV Fly Society, took part in a $20,000 SOCOM tournament. They took third. No Even Talent took first. They took the $8,000 pot. Violently Insane took second. Our Fly Society took third. And then fourth place was Deadly Methods. I still think it's fantastic that we see Major League Gaming able to connect the kind of backers that, will support it with 20K tournaments like this. So congratulations to No Even Talent for taking it all. And then I just want to say a quick shout out to Fly Society, who I thought played really well, and, Violently Insane as well, who took second. So wanted to throw that out there before we got to what I would say, quote unquote, is the big news. So Kurt, where do you want to start?
I mean,
want to begin with the Invitational, the Starcraft? Shall we start there?
Yeah, I suppose we can start with that.
Well, I want to start out by saying, first off, that the one thing about the Invitational that has, I think, been, I guess, not talked about enough, and I don't know if you all feel this way, but I think there's a lot of StarCraft going on around. I really do. I think there is StarCraft happening everywhere. And in the middle of this busy, I don't know what to even call it. It's like a frenzy of StarCraft. There is this Invitational that I think really stands strong. Now, it's my understanding tonight, is it Tyler and Destiny that are squaring off tonight? Do I have that right?
I do believe you do.
Yeah, I think it's Tyler versus Destiny.
Yep, I think so.
Like the main people, at least. I think that's losers round 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's losers round 2. I'm going to pull it up right now. Loser bracket round 2, Tyler versus Destiny. They got Cheth versus Kiwakaki. And then obviously in the EU losers bracket round 2, we have Thorzane facing off against Rhett. So, and I think they also said that the Jinro Naniwa is going to be the first broadcast on Monday, October 10th, instead of today, which it was originally scheduled. So, I mean, again, nothing there to me doesn't look interesting. I think we're going to have good things. John, I know don't want to put you on the spot, John, but it seemed to me that in your decision in leaving, the one thing you made a point of is that you're still going to be a StarCraft fan, and I think you still want to support the players you love. So what do you think about this StarCraft frenzy we have going on right now?
I love it. I mean, like I said, the one thing I really like is StarCraft, and I mean, there's a reason for that, and it's because there's never been a time in all my years of gaming that I've been able to get behind, and actually like cheer for somebody. I mean, I've had, my friends through Gears of War and Halo and, all these different games, and, I've become friends with Scott from EG, and so I've, kind of started cheering for their teams, but, I've never really been able to get behind.
And just to throw this out there real quick, I want to be sure, did you get a chance tonight to watch any of the matches? Not
from the MLG Invitational, but I did get to watch IEM last night. So,
you were up for that?
Well, I definitely watched Idra Puma. That was a fun match to watch because finally I got to see Idra play well, and I haven't seen that in a while.
Well, I think it is a big match. So Destiny's win tonight. Congratulations to him. And let's move away from Major League Gaming, and let's go right to IEM. It was the talk of the show on Fuck Slasher today, for those who get a chance to watch that. Kurt, I know you're a fan, and since, John, you watched it, I did not watch the match. As I said, I woke up to this. I'm going to start with you, John. I want you to talk about your experience in watching it, and then, Kurt, I want to hear from you as far as your thoughts on this matchup and the conversation surrounding it. John, start us out.
Okay. I did not watch Slasher Show today, and the conversation around it, I just kind of watched it and went to bed. Didn't get to watch the final because I'm not going to stay up that late to watch it. Time zones will kill you sometimes. But, for the first time, it was nice to see Idra play well, playing a big macro game without giving up too early. And to see, a lot of people are going to be like, well, they're teammates, they play together, blah, blah, blah. But regardless, in my opinion, Puma is clearly a superior player to Idra. And it was good to see Idra play a little calmer and, push for those huge macro games where a Zerg might have an advantage. And, it was nice to see non-rage quit Idra. It was nice to see, keep pouring it on, especially from a foreigner and especially an American, to beat a Korean player. Even though they're both EG players, I like both players. I've enjoyed watching them. But, it was just fun to watch that match. That's one of the first matches since probably the last MLG event that I've actually had fun watching.
I hear you. Well, for those who don't know, after Idra's win today, Slasher on Twitter made a comment which got picked up on Reddit where he had said, that, and I thought very honestly, to be fair, that we weren't seeing the top Koreans at this IEM event. So in a way, the Reddit community sort of looked at him downplaying Idra's win. And Kurt, I know you were listening today, and I thought I'd turn to you here and give me a little of your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the first thing to mention is just the number one, what Slasher was talking about. For people that haven't been keeping up with it that might not know, Slasher, of course, made the bet a few weeks ago, and pretty much ever since, every week on Live on 3, saying that he would basically shave his head, the rest of whatever remaining hair he has, if a foreigner won an event that a Korean was actually attending at. He said that IEM China counted as far as it included, even though it didn't have a lot of Koreans in it. It was one that he was worried about, at the beginning of the week anyway, because it was, it's easily one of the events that he thought ahead of time had a better chance for a foreigner to win than any other event, especially in October. So he sort of brought up after, he, of course, said that he would stick to his word, but he brought up both on Twitter and on his show later on, Fuck Slasher, that what I think is a great point. I mean, people can be mad about it. People can be sort of salty at the fact that he says it, but it's the truth. The competition at that particular event wasn't as high in Koreans, as far as Koreans go, as some of the others. I think it was Thorin that was talking about how no one, there was a bunch of the players there that weren't really, they were just barely Code A status. Some of them hadn't quite made Code A. I mean, I think don't get me wrong. I think the players there were great, and I don't want to talk down Idra's performance. He played great. The Puma Idra match was an amazing PVT. I mean, not PVT, ZVT. And to watch it, it was really, really amazing. Because there was really times where, number one, Idra was down. I mean, he was down from the count. I think it was game 2. And he didn't give up. That's the point that, he's notorious for giving up, 15 minutes early with him ahead or something like that. He, I couldn't have blamed him a bit if he would have typed GG in that game 2, and he didn't, so.
Well, I know that, John, you're going to have an opinion on this, so I'm going to turn it right to you to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, people always talk about, trying to take away from these wins at these tournaments, but, and I know Slasher knows this, and so I'm not going to point fingers at him, but I will point fingers at a lot of other people that they don't, they're like, oh, there's only 3 Koreans here, so that doesn't count. And, the same happened with Huck when he won DreamHack. I think it was DreamHack Summer. He beat July and Moon along the way to winning that, but, the tournament also featured MC, Bomber, good players like Naniwa, White Raw, Idra, all these good players. And it's like, well, he didn't really have a hard road. Well, you got to think about, he beat Moon, who beat Bomber, who beat MC. That's a pretty hard road. And so you can't really take away from the fact that he might have only had to play one hard Korean, and he won that, so he won the championship. But then with IEM, you got to realize that the reason there's not that many Korean players, number one, they brought Jinro as a Korean invite, which he's not Korean, and I really don't know why they did that. I didn't really look that much into it. And number two, 4 spots have to be filled by people from China because it's taking place in China. And so, the Koreans that qualified filled those spots, and they filled the spots that they were given. You're not just going to fill a tournament up with all Koreans like MLG is kind of slowly getting that way, or like a GSL would be, which is actually in Korea. And then, you're not going to say, okay, there can only be 4 Korean people. Well, those are the ones that qualify, and then those are the ones that lose to Idra. Well, Idra did what he could do. He did everything possible he could do. He won his matches in the bracket 3-1, 3-0, and 3-1. I mean, that's very convincing. And he beat a Korean. The two Koreans he played, he beat 6-1 total. So, I mean, you can't really take away from the fact that he still did that well, and he still did that against Koreans, even though they might not be the best Koreans. They're still the people he had to play. And regardless, going into IEM, regardless of who was going to be there, he wanted to win, and he won. And that's the end of it. And so people need to stop saying, oh, well, he didn't play anybody good. Well, it's still a major tournament. He still went and did what he could. If there are better players, who knows what would happen, but there weren't. He won. Get over it.
See, but real quick, though, I would agree with you if the case was made that Idro didn't play that well. That wasn't the case from the beginning. The case from the beginning was based on Slasher's bet in the sense that how that worked out, in the sense that Slasher said that basically in the sense of he didn't believe any foreigners were going to beat Koreans, a substantial amount of Koreans especially. And that was his sort of point from his bet perspective. And from his bet perspective, with only 3 Koreans in the tournament, 2 of which weren't very popular, I suppose, in the community, or as high a level as some of the ones that attend MLGs regularly, it still means the same point. We're not taking anything away from Idra. We're taking things away from the fact that the level of play there. If Idra attends a tournament that doesn't have the best players in the world, we're not taking away from his win. We're still taking away from the fact that that there wasn't those level of players there. That was all he was saying, and I can understand. To me, I just think it's honest. He was just being honest, and like I said, I don't want to take anything away from Idra because I think he played amazing. I think he probably would have won, if there had been even better players there, just because of how well he was playing. But I suppose we'll never know. One thing to note real quick too, though, is the fact that I think that is a more important thing to note is the fact that Elfie beat Idra in the group bracket 2-0. That's even more amazing to me. That's really the story that people should be talking about here.
And Jinro beat him too. The only reason Idra even got in the bracket is because he took one game off Jinro, even though he lost 2-1. But in getting back to the Slasher thing, he made that bet, and obviously he made it probably more with events like MLG where there's better competition in mind. But regardless, Slasher is one of the smartest guys in the business, in my opinion. So he knew that, hey, there's only going to be 4 Korean players, and I don't know if we knew Jinro at that point was going to be one of them or not. And of course, Rain came. He's kind of a toss up whether he's even Korean anymore or not. But he didn't even make bracket play, and so you kind of have to know going in. Okay, well, you know what? Idra could win this, or Elfie could win this, or Strelak could win it, or whoever else is there could win it. So kind of.
I think Jinro got put in. I think Jinro got put in at like the very last moment too, so that probably didn't help any of his chances either. And not taking anything away from Jinro. I think Jinro's a great player. It's just, I think he got put. If I'm not mistaken, I remember him saying the story on Fuck Slasher, but Jinro got put in at the very last moment, kind of mixed things up a little bit. And I think he was talking about how the IEM selection process has kind of been messed up too. So I think he was hoping that New York wouldn't be the same way. So.
Well, I think what you said, Kurt, is true. The reason I kind of supported what Slasher said is that, have you ever made a bet and lost it? I always start with that. Like, if you make a bet, right, and let's say I bet that my team, whatever team that is, let's say the Bears are going to win. They're heavily favored. I believe they have the better team, and they lose. My instinct is to start to tell you why I think they lost, why my bet was a solid one, knowing what I knew. And in a way, all Slasher's saying, in a way, is he's sort of justifying his bet. I think you're right. I don't think it's downplaying Idra's performance, right? I think it wouldn't have mattered what North American won. He would have downplayed the performance because, hey, he lost the bet, right? So
yeah,
I think that's,
Yeah, I don't think it. Slasher, number one. That's number one thing to say. He's always going to be looking for that little piece of controversy. And I love him for it. I do. I absolutely love him for it because it's hilarious. And to be honest, I think in most of the time when he says that, he's honest. He's just brutally honest. So.
No, I like that.
But I do want to say, though, if no one's seen those matches between Puma and Idra, they need to go back and watch it. You would think it's because it's a 3-0, you think it's a walkover. It's not, by any means. Amazing matches, especially Game 1 and Game 2. So, go watch. and also watch the Elfie matches, Elfie versus Idra too. So.
Yeah, all 3 Puma matches, huge macro games, great, just long, long but not boring kind of matches to watch. And
especially, I think it was game 2 that really had me the most, is because it was just back and forth of this ridiculous play, where Idra had that one infester that kept on messing. Puma only had one mining base and just kept on messing. Idra just kept on messing with his SUVs on that one mining base. It was hilarious. It was a great match.
Yeah, it was. And at the end of the day, as long as Slasher shaves his head, we're all good.
It's all about it.
I want to see what DJ Wheat does too, because now he says he's doing something. So I think I'm not sure if anybody's caught that, but he said he would do like the EG chin strap. The famous chin strap.
That's painful. That's really painful.
That'll be great. That'll be great. I think they're doing that, if I'm not mistaken, live at IPL for Live on 3. So.
Well, I saw DJ Weed ask for some clippers on Twitter. So, and Sir Scoots was quick enough to offer up his. So, I think you're absolutely right. Well, since we're talking about IEM, I think it's time to talk about the other big game going on. And I am talking about League of Legends.
Definitely.
And Jason, who do we have on to talk about League of Legends today?
Well, that'd be our new League of Legends correspondent. You might know him as Asylum from the VV Gaming forums, VV Asylum. Christian's joining us. Christian, I would like to welcome you to the Losers Bracket for the first time ever. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you. Awesome to be here. Doing great.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you, man. So for those that don't know who you are, please tell us a little bit about yourself so we can know the man behind the name Asylum.
Well, I am Christian, VVV Asylum. What is there to know about me, really? There really isn't that much. Been in competitive gaming a while. Got my big start off back in the good old Warcraft 3 days. Did a little bit of competitive gaming there. Then went into the military, actually. And just got off, EATS not too long ago, about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And back after deployment, I found League of Legends and have been into it ever since and have absolutely fallen in love with it. So that's just a little bit about me.
I've seen League of Legends slowly creep through the VV gaming community as I think people try it, they download it for free, and all of a sudden they become fans. But I really want to talk about IEM because I think tonight, I know about, we've got the third place match coming up. We've got basically 2 matches, 2 Chinese teams left, one vying for third and one vying for first. You want to talk about the teams left? I know SK Gaming and Counterlogic Gaming are in this. Talk about who's left and what makes these matches interesting, or in some cases, who may be heavily favored to win.
All right, so for our third place match, we have SK Gaming and eHome. A lot of people might know eHome back from the old Dota days, and also the large $1 million Dota 2 tournament that was going on.
Whoa, you say Dota, everybody else says Dota.
Sorry, Dota.
Dota. We have to give you the video. He needs the video. I think that.
I'm sorry.
The Base Hunter song?
I will quote right? Base Hunter. It is Dota.
There we go. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I'm actually a big Base Hunter fan. So, but anyways, continuing on. eHome has surprised a lot of people in the League of Legends community. They thought that they were going to stick with Dota, go straight into Dota 2, maybe touch a little bit in Heroes of New Earth. But they came in to IEM Guangzhou and took everybody by storm. They did extremely, extremely well in the group stages to secure a place in the playoffs, which was just amazing. They tied with SK Gaming in Group A to go 2-1, which nobody expected. I sure as hell didn't expect it whatsoever. And it was just amazing. And now they do have a really tough opponent in SK Gaming coming up against them. But they have beaten them. If you looked at the group stages, eHome actually beat SK Gaming when they fought each other. So that's just saying a lot about eHome, period. You've got SK Gaming, you've got eHome. Personally, I'm going to favor eHome to win this just because they have a lot more experience in the MOBA genre as a whole than SK Gaming does. but you can never really count out SK Gaming's Ocelot or Candy Panda. They've got two extremely awesome carries in those two players that if they're on fire, they could easily just walk all over eHome.
Well, you know what? You mentioned something, Asylum, that I love to do, and that's educate our audience. Now, a lot of people who may not be familiar with the roles inside League of Legends, terms like carry, terms like jungler, these may be new terms for them. Can you walk through, with the current format that they're currently playing, what the roles are basically and what those players are responsible for?
All right, for sure. Well, with SK Gaming, they usually run the typical European meta, which they usually will either run 2 carries top, and they'll run a carry and a support on bottom, and they'll have a jungler. Now, what a carry is usually someone who's generally weak in the beginning of the game. Then as the game goes on and they progress, they start getting their items, they start getting a lot of gold, they start getting their buffs, they become a lot stronger and will in turn carry the rest of their team to victory in the later parts of the game. Now, that's basically where you get the carry from. Now, there's 2 types of carries. There's the AP carry, there's the AD carry. You have your AP carries who are like your mages, people who actually use abilities to deal their damage, and they have the AD carries who are basically, a lot of them are right-click to win. They get their items, you right-click on the enemy champion, and you watch them go to town on them. Now, the jungler, somebody who doesn't necessarily have a presence in lane at the very beginning of the game because they're stuck to the jungle. When they're going into the jungle, they're killing neutral creeps, they're counter-jungling, they're warding, and they're trying to gank the other lanes. That's basically a jungler. Now, a jungler can also be a tank, which is someone who is there to cause as much disruption as possible and absorb as much damage as possible. Or they could also be another one of those carries. The other important role, the jungler, is keeping timing and ganking the other lanes, making sure that they don't get ahead of the other lanes. And then, of course, you have your support, the person who usually sits with the AD carry on the bottom lane and either keeps the sustain up or prevents the other 2 people in the lane from casting and getting their creep score and getting the early game gold that they need to carry.
So if somebody is not very familiar with the game and they're going to be watching this match, they should be looking to see that basic setup from SK Gaming. Now, their opponent, once again, who you're favoring, have they dropped a match around this whole tournament?
From what I am seeing, they have not lost a single map whatsoever. eHome has come to surprise everybody here in the IEM Guangzhou, and I'm heavily favoring them simply because I know them from Dota. I know them from Dota 2, from the beta tournament that they had. What was it, about a month and a half ago for the $1 million tournament. They did exceptionally well there. And SK, they are either on fire or they are ice cold. eHome is much more dependable as far as consistency and carrying ability. So I'm going to favor eHome to take 3rd place here.
Okay, let's move on to what will be about 2 a.m. my time or so, or somewhere late at night when I'll be sleeping. Let's talk about this finals, where again we have CounterLogic Gaming coming in, which probably in North America will be favored to win. However, I think we are probably in for a good match. Asylum, what do you think?
Oh my God. Team World Elite. Team We. Another Southeast Asian team that has come to surprise everybody here at IEM Guangzhou. It has just been completely awesome watching these guys play. Taking out eHome in the playoffs. In group play, they did exceptionally well again. And it's just completely amazing seeing how Team We did in Group B. They didn't lose a single map. They didn't lose a single match whatsoever. They beat CounterLogic Gaming. They beat the French team Millennium. They beat Flash. And it was just an amazing, amazing group stage for Team We. I don't know a whole lot about them. And I know Team We has had a little bit of success in the Starcraft division, but they're coming into the MOBA genre, and they're coming in hard. And CLG, they're going to have their hands full, definitely. CLG, of course, arguably the best team in the world right now. I personally think otherwise, but people have their own opinions. This match, honestly, I feel could go either way. CLG has now seen how Team We plays and is going to be able to react to that from their experience in the group stages, taking this here into the finals. It's going to be a toss-up. In my opinion, if you flip a coin, you'll have a better chance at guessing at who's going to win this match.
So you're saying that you don't feel that you can call this, but Kurt, I know you've been following. I mean, Check Six is out there. Everybody's looking at League of Legends. I know you play it. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, just to comment on League of Legends in general, I am a big fan. To me, it's kind of became sort of a new Counter-Strike for me. Dun dun dun. I suppose it's the serious music to play.
Wait a minute, is that that means you like it a lot?
That definitely means I like it, Jerry. Just because the thing that John mentioned, the fact that it's got a great team dynamic. To me, I love being able to have that sort of team dynamic with things. It's where everyone has their own spot, they know what to work. It's really, really great game. Has by chance hit a Counter-Strike in the love of my heart, yet or anything like that. But it's close. But no, to comment on the match real quick. Asylum is right. I mean, We has just been dominating. They have been destroying kids left and right. So, and the thing is that surprises us. It might surprise us in North America because we've never heard of them in League of Legends and things like that. But a lot of people say that I've talked to in the community say, well, it's not surprising to us at all, because they have played other games before. And, seeing them on the ladder and things like that, they've just, destroyed kids. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a good match either way. I have to agree with Simon. It's going to kind of be a toss-up because I do think the thing with CLG is historically speaking, they have a way of coming back from things like that. And they have a way from learning how people work and seeing how everything works out. I mean, not to mention they've played them once before in the tournament. They have that advantage to be able to see what they've done before and things like that. So, and it's not like, Counter-Strike where maps change. I mean, the roster ends up changing, but the map is still the same. You get sort of the same basics. So, I mean, not to mention, that's the thing with the League of Legends is it changes so quickly because there's so many different characters you choose from and things like that. So, I think it's going to be a toss-up. I have to agree with Asylum. It's going to be a good match. I don't think it's going to be a dominant match where we just stomps on them like it was the earlier in the group stages.
So if you had to pick one, Kurt, who are you going to go with?
Gonna have to go with CLG.
All right, Asylum, if you had to pick one, who would you go with?
Sorry, Kurt. I'm going with Team We.
Going with Team We. Gonna say that the Dota experience and the long history of playing in the genre will trump CLG because North America has technically had the game longer. So you could argue that CLG has actually played League of Legends longer than Team We, but you're going with that deep Dota experience. Is that right, Asylum?
Precisely.
Either that or you don't like CLG.
I actually personally am a really big fan of CLG. They're actually the ones that got me into competitive League of Legends in the first place. George, Hotshot GG, Steve Chow, they're all great guys. Talked to them on a couple of occasions. They're amazing guys. When they're not trolling, of course. But I'm going to have to give it to Team We simply because CLG, they've seen them once. They have seen them once. Don't get me wrong. But they play a different meta. And CLG, I feel, is not prepared for that.
We will see. When I get up tomorrow morning, I'll know the answer to that question.
I'll send you a Skype message right after the match. So right when you wake up, you'll be like, oh, Asylum was wrong, or oh, Asylum was right.
Or I may not even put Asylum in the sentence.
Oh, Kurt was wrong. Kurt was right.
Or we could just keep you up all night. That's no big deal either. It's not like you got to go to work tomorrow or anything.
Yeah, what's work? I'll just start pouring drinks now so that when I go to work, I'll look like that guy that's been at the bar till 2 a.m. All right, so let's one final thing. Shout out to our League of Legends team for their performance tonight, winning in the Alienware tournament, and also Asylum, coming back to you. you just recently did a tournament, and I think we're having a tournament series here that's going really well. So I want to give you an opportunity to talk about the tournament that you have been running and what's coming up and what you guys just finished, and talk about that a little bit.
King of the Summoner's Hill. Oh, I am so glad I'm actually able to talk about this. Well, a lot of people might remember the solo mid.net tournaments, the good old 1v1s that the National ESL eventually picked up as a league and a division. Well, we've kind of adapted that, and we're bringing it into our own kind of tournament light called King of the Summoner's Hill. Basic 1v1, middle, jungle only. It's a great way, in my opinion, to learn characters, to learn how to counter other characters. We've been having a lot of success with it. The first tournament we did, we had about 30 competitors, and our very own VVV and Anaximander, of course, taking that King of the Summoner's Hill title. Shout out to you there, Anaximander. Great all-around player. Second time around, we brought it out a little more. We sent it out to the community for a brief period of time saying, okay, well, let's see if we can grow this a little bit. And then I also brought in VVV Craft to come alongside and cast it with me. We had an absolute blast. We had almost 50 summoners from VVV Gaming and from the community sign up. And we had an absolute blast with our partners, Gamers Gridiron, who we've actually been partnering with for these tournaments. And they've been nothing but great to us. They've had a great setup for us. They've always made sure they've had a nice admin staff on duty to make sure that our tournament runs nice and smooth. And it's just been an absolute blast. VVV and Anaximander, again, taking home the second King of the Summoner's Hill title, which is amazing because we actually had a nice turnout as far as summoners came. And I actually thought that Anaximander would have been dethroned as the King of the Summoner's Hill. But now, I am proud to say here on the Losers Bracket, King of the Summoner's Hill 3 will be coming. It will be coming November 4th. Rules and all that stuff will be going out probably within the next couple of days or so. And hey, there's going to be prizes, people.
That is a fact. That's what I hear. There's going to be some really cool prizes as this event grows. For those who are looking for an introduction to League of Legends, I think our Mumble channel is always filled with people playing League all the time. So hop in and look. But most importantly, I think it's great to see a tournament well run. Now, it's my understanding you're partnering with a website that's helping you run that. What is that partnership about?
Well, we've partnered up with GamersGridiron.com. Mr. Tyler Francois, the CEO and executive president at Gamers Gridiron. We got to talking about, hey, let's run these tournaments. Let's do this, let's do that, and we've just had nothing but great success with them. Their format on the website is, in my opinion, it can, there's always room for improvement. There's no visible brackets. We can't do double elimination yet. But it is being worked on. Thanks to us working with GamersGridiron.com, they're actually seeing the importance of, hey, we need to have a bracket that can actually be visible to all the competitors. And, hey, people want to play double elimination format. This would be the best thing to do. So thanks to us working with them and them working with us, they're going to start pressing that out a lot faster than they originally intended. Because now that they're starting to jump into the competitive tournament scene, they're finally realizing this, and they're like, okay, we need to hop on this because this tournament is growing, of course. We want other tournaments. We want to attract other tournaments from other games, not just League of Legends, but places, like World of Warcraft, Starcraft, Counter-Strike. They want to do this. So we're doing as much as possible by partnering with them and helping them out, giving them as much feedback as possible to make it so where they'll have the best platform possible for not only us, but for other games as well. And I, for one, have felt very fortunate to get to work with a company such as GamersGridiron.com. They are absolutely amazing.
Awesome. And come November 1st, we'll be having our own built-in bracket system up for everyone to use and view because we've got so many games going on in VVV that everybody wants to follow various divisions, so we're going to take care of that.
That's
all right.
News to me.
There is much news yet to follow, but we're going to keep our news a little quiet for a while, and we'll let the website speak for itself as we unveil it. Probably start looking for the beta of the new VV website the third week of October this month. So, well, Asylum, I want to thank you for coming out on the show and give you a chance for any shout-outs you might have.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank VVV Gaming. You guys are completely awesome. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. Of course, VVV sponsors everybody involved with the losers bracket, Paradise, or Jareth, Kurt, and anybody that I missed because I don't know your names yet. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I look forward to having many more discussions with you guys, not only on the losers bracket, but in life in general, about competitive gaming and the League of Legends scene.
You're going to be the person to educate me on all that I do not know, while Kurt keeps us both honest with his love of League of Legends. I can't believe, Kurt, that you equated League of Legends as your new Counter-Strike. Isn't that like a sacred compliment from you Counter-Strike types?
That's blasphemy.
See, look, it's new Counter-Strike 2001, okay? So it's just when I'm starting to get into my baby, but now I'm not saying it's Counter-Strike 2011 where I've, cultured and cultivated how much I love the game.
So it's like a fresh puppy love that hasn't yet endured the test of time that 1.6
Exactly. Exactly. Now once, in 2 or 3 years, if I'm still loving it, it could be there. It could be there, right up there with Counter-Strike 1.6 and Call of Duty 2. Those are my two full-grown babies.
To me, I just can't tell. It sounds like Kurt's having one of those Friday night affairs where he's just like, yeah, I might call you if I feel up to it, and he has to figure out if it's lust or love, and he isn't too sure if he's going to have a couple more flings or if he's in this for the long haul. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. That is actually it. I'm trying to decide whether League of Legends is a lust or a love. I'll let you know in a few years.
I swear to God, if you come out with something corny like League of Legends makes me feel young again, that's it. We're throwing that out right now. We're gonna be like, all right, you need to go.
You don't understand. We're gonna get a 5v5 losers bracket team going on. I'm telling you, this is it. This is League of Legends.
Oh my
We're going Cal I in this.
You know what? Listen, let me tell you my gaming schedule. My gaming schedule's all locked up. See,
no, it's all locked up until SW2. Until the Star Wars comes out, so don't go there.
Heaven forbid somebody wants to play a game with me, right? I got Gears of War to tie me up, right? Ton of teams and people to learn about there. I've got all of those little single-player games that I actually enjoy playing. I know this is weird, but sometimes when nobody else is around, I play certain games for fun. Those games have names like Civilization 5 and Batman is coming out, and then after that I've got Uncharted 3, and then so my PlayStation 3 will actually see use. And then coming back to the 360, I've got Skyrim and Assassin's Creed Revelations. So that will take me into
blasphemy.
That.
None of those multiplayer. Get out of here.
I'm telling you, that'll take me until December 20th, 2011. Oh, not to mention the new release of the VV Gaming website.
Don't forget about Counter-Strike Go there, Jerry.
Dude, I don't have a release date for that, do you?
No. The beta comes out this month, though, so I'm wondering who I have to talk to. I don't care what I got to do. Just let me know.
Don't you guys have an inside boys club where if you've got the club cards, you automatically get it? Don't you have to be
I've been tweeting the CS:GO
Craig
dev
Levine
on Twitter
club or something like that?
I've been tweeting the CS:GO dev guy on Twitter probably every day now, so hopefully he gets a hint. I'm trying my best. Look.
Hey, if I can make a quick interjection here, for those of you that are interested, which I'm sure a lot of you are, the third place match for League of Legends is going live in about 45 minutes. You can go to iemchina.leagueoflegends.com. You'll be able to see it live from Guangzhou, China. So make sure after the podcast tonight, go over there, grab some popcorn, grab your soda, try to stay awake. It's going to be awesome matches.
Did you just say popcorn and soda?
I think
we're all fat gamers here, aren't we?
I just imagine that,
no.
John, this is one of those, we're going out on a date or, it's I don't know, Friday night when I was 5. Get popcorn and soda, and we're going to watch a movie.
Hey, it's an entertaining spectacle. Whenever I watch the IEM or whenever I watch a tournament, I love my popcorn and I love my macaroni and cheese.
Oh,
Well, we should have a conversation one day about real macaroni and cheese and what that is. But, you mentioned streams, and something that we should talk a little bit about that we haven't is...
big news. I think it's bigger than the Invitational. I think it's huge.
Well, I mean, Major League Gaming is doubling their StarCraft streams. Kurt, go right ahead.
Yeah, big news.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge news, especially considering I'm hoping, finally going to be showing some great open bracket matches. That's what we hear, at least. That's what they were talking about, is that they have planned on doing a lot of open bracket matches rather than just main stage matches, which is a dream to me, because there are a lot of great matches from a lot of great players that aren't necessarily, the popularity contest winners of StarCraft. So I love it. I love the idea. They also are supporting the casting community, which there's so many casters in StarCraft that really are amazing casters that haven't quite got there to DJ Wheat, Day 9, JP, and all those guys level yet. The casters that will be doing the cast for the 2 streams are, I think it's going to be Adabisi, Nursky, and there was 2 more. Help me out here, Jerry. You've got the... Here, I'll pull it up.
I think it was Tumba and Robin.
Tumba and Robin.
Yeah, I was going to say that I am not...
I don't know those 2 that well, but I know Nursky very well, and I know Adabisi very well. Adabisi at one point in time... Yeah, so Adabisi and Nursky. Nursky's on VP. Adabisi, I'm not really sure. I forgot exactly what was the name of what he was doing, but I know at one point in time he was on Complexity's Academy for casting. They've also added 2 extra computers have been added to the main stage, which is pretty big too, because that setup time has been brutal. In between matches and stuff like that, it's been kind of brutal. So they've added 2 extra computers to allow everybody to get set up and all that. That should be great. And they've also staggered the schedule. So there's a bunch of really, really big things that were all released actually at the exact same time. Excuse me. All that information was released at the exact same time. So I think that's what some of the biggest stuff MLG's released lately. I hope that it pays off. I really hope that it's going to get them the viewers that they want, and that they'll be able to keep those amount of streams for the remainder of the season, and hopefully next season as well. Because I'm really looking forward to seeing just how those work out. And just so you guys know, the way those 2 streams work out is you cannot access those streams without being a gold and silver member, a gold or silver member, I think. So of MLG. So
Correct.
You guys should really go check that out and go purchase that, because not only are they talking about how the fact that they need those gold and silver members to be able to increase the prize pot, but now I think it's 10 times more worth it than it actually was. So,
well, I mean, I think everybody wins more streams, right? I mean, I think that 1, you have greater exposure for more teams. 2, obviously, like you just mentioned, that kind of value for the gold and silver. I mean, I said this during our VV Gaming Drive donation. You spend money every day, and per hour, gaming is an inexpensive hobby. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, compared to going to the movies, or if I'm thinking about like Comcast On Demand, where movies like $5 a pop for an hour. I mean, imagine if you were just charged $5 an hour for every hour you spend gaming. Think about what kind of bill you would rack up. So, I mean, at the end of the day, gaming is a very cost-effective hobby. The people who work to support this should be supported. So at the end of the day, you spend money every day, spend a little on Major League Gaming. Plus, I mean, I don't think you want to miss out. If you're a StarCraft II fan, are you kidding me? This is something you should be watching. And no, Major League Gaming doesn't give these away for free, so I haven't certainly got one yet. Sundance hasn't come knock on my door and said, here's your free gold passes. So, I mean, everybody's pitching in to really do something really good here. So I recommend everybody that has not got that MLG membership, support it. I mean, I can't see a good reason why you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But, Jason, I mean, You're going to be in Orlando, Jason, this weekend or this upcoming weekend. We'll talk about this more next week before you head out, but you're going to be able to see all this sort of guerrilla casting going on.
I think that it's honestly, it's such a neat idea because one of the biggest things that we hadn't mentioned about this yet is that the way these games are going to be cast, the casters walking around on the floor, looking at the brackets, seeing what's special, what's going on, a really good match that's coming up, and just walking up and casting it right from the floor. It's not something that's going to be planned, this match at this time. So we might just wander into a really good match, an intriguing storyline, and something that's really cool about this actually builds up the drama. We can say, oh, wow, this person's going through the open bracket undefeated. They've looked really good. They've done some interesting strategies. Let's check out their next match. That adds to the intrigue of MLG. There's only so much that text can do. Yeah, they can post that on the MLG site, but as soon as they say, you know what, this person, random StarCraft player number 12 has been just absolutely killing it today. He's been using awesome strategies. Let's see how he does. And they walk over and cast his game. That's so much more powerful. So I'm excited to see this. I'm looking forward to meeting these new casters that they have for this beta test of this new streaming system. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful step in the right direction for Major League Gaming.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Just a comment real quick. I couldn't agree more with that. And the one thing that, like I said, what I was talking about before about the open bracket matches is it sort of adds this whole thing where there's so many players. I mean, just look back at the past events and look back at how many games have really gone down in MLG history for being, great, but you don't find out about them till 2 weeks after MLG or a week after MLG. Like the thing with White Raw and the guy that ended up running all his SCVs into White Raw's base. And just letting him kill him, all because that he got forfeit early in the bracket. Do you remember that? They had that whole thing.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah, they had a bunch of whole nuke, a bunch of nuke plays that go down that people end up missing because it's in the open bracket, and a bunch of really great matches. I truly hope MLG takes advantage of that and does not just play the same people over and over again. Like they're doing, with the main stage. I understand, they got to get the celebrities in there, but hopefully they don't continue to do that with 2 more streams. I don't want to see 4 streams of the same people.
To be fair, though, and this is something that you had mentioned earlier, there is something nice that they're doing as well, which is, now they have the 2 extra computers set up on stage, and they've staggered the schedule a little bit more, which means we're going to get more more main stage matches, which means we might see more people, play. There is a good chance they could throw another matchup on the main stage from people that we normally don't see. So I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more players being streamed at this event, and I think it's going to continue into the future because I can see no way that this isn't, this is going to be successful.
I have a question for everybody, and it's something I want to talk about real quick. And maybe this is something we should get up on the Twitter and start asking people out there. And I mean this very seriously. Do you guys think it's possible that there can be a saturation of StarCraft, almost too much StarCraft? And I ask this because there's a lot that goes on in gaming. And if everybody believes that StarCraft is sort of the story, do we drown out a lot of the other things that are out there? I'm going to start out by asking you, John. I know it's going to be your last show, and you talked about being one of those StarCraft fans. I just want to throw that out, and then we're going to go to you, Jason. And then last but not least, Kurt, you're running Check 6. I don't know if you feel the same thing, but we'll get to that. So, John, I want to start with you. Is it possible to have too much StarCraft, or is there no limit?
I think there is a limit, and the reason there is a limit is not because you'll get too much StarCraft necessarily, but that the more and more there's being added, I think it's taking away from other stuff. So many good things coming out, consoles, PCs, both. When you add so much, I mean, just think about the month of October and everything that's going on with StarCraft II. We had Rod talking about NJHalo. In the grand scheme of things, nobody knows or cares about NJHalo when you're paying attention to all this StarCraft. It's impossible to even realize it's there. It's hard to realize that Devastation is there when IPL is going on, and that's like the big thing. Even the Live on 3 crew, which has been doing Devastation, for a while now, was like, oh, IPL's going, let's go there. And, you know, they had to ditch Starcraft and Devastation because, you know, it was taken somewhere else. And I think there's kind of a limit. Like, they couldn't do Starcraft II at Devastation because of IPL, because nobody would show up and play in it. And so that hurt, you know, I think something that Rob wanted to do there with Starcraft and Devastation when IPL launched their thing. And of course, you know, you might could work out the weekends better in the future, but regardless, that's a lot of places that StarCraft, or that people wanted StarCraft to be, but it couldn't necessarily be. But because there's all this StarCraft, it might take away from the fact that, oh, Halo's here too. Oh, Gears of War is here too. Oh, League of Legends is here too. And, you know, might start to slowly kind of dwindle away at these other games, and it'll all be StarCraft. And I think gaming is something that, yeah, StarCraft is the thing, but there's still a lot out there that we don't need to forget about just quite yet.
You know, I don't want to say that I don't want to say anything negative about StarCraft because it's so popular, but I think what you bring up is a really good point. And with that, Jason, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, there were a lot of good points in what John just said, and to be fair, there is just a crazy amount of StarCraft II going on out there right now. You know, not only do we have, you know, MLG, and then also their Global Invitational, and then we have the IEM, and then we've got the World Cyber Games, and then we've got IPL 3, and then we've got DreamHack coming up, and then we have the Asus Republic of Gamers Invitational that they're doing at DigiExpo in Finland, and we have all these different tournaments that are going on. There's so much StarCraft there, and there is a really good chance that it's drowning out quite a lot of other potential titles that could grow esports. Is it a bad thing? I mean, yes, StarCraft is continuing to grow, and I can't tell you how many people I know that, you know, don't even follow gaming that know what StarCraft is just because they have friends that play it, and it's getting there. But I'm just worried about other titles, because in sports, if we're going to use the analogy of sports, you know, we don't just have football. We have soccer, we have baseball, we have hockey. And I do think that there's room for other titles out there. And if we continue to push this, it gets so many StarCraft events, are we going to stretch our players too thin? You know, or there's got to be a point where if we get too many events that all the top players will not be able to attend, and that could hurt us. And then on top of that, are we, you know, basically restricting our own growth at that point? I'm a little concerned about that, but at the same time, as a fan, I do love the fact that I'm always receiving content. So that, on the other hand, is pretty cool. Color me a little bit nervous, but at the same time, I'm hopeful.
All right. And then, Kurt, I want to hear from you. Can there be too much StarCraft? How do you feel about that?
I'm really going to try to keep this short, because I could honestly talk about it all night. I have before, so I'm going to keep it short. The problem with answering the question is I have three different opinions here. I have the opinions of someone that's looking at the content. I have the opinions of the owner of an organization, Check Six, or the one of the management of the organization of Check Six, and then I also have the opinion of just someone that is looking at it completely from the outside. And trying to analyze, you know, the different games, and the fact that I'm missing so many different games. I'm going to try to take it from the opinion of Check Six here, because I think it's kind of you know, something that is invaluable that, you know, other people might not be able to express. One of the problems I see with having, like I said, too much StarCraft, and I do think it is definitely something that can be a problem. Maybe it's not a problem right now, but I think it can be a problem. Is the fact that there's just this huge oversaturation of StarCraft content, and it's just like John said, it's blocking out other games and other competitions and other events.
Kurt, let me ask you one quick thing on that, because I want to make sure that we sort of have this really boxed in.
Yeah.
Is it too much StarCraft that's upsetting, or is it StarCraft blocking out other games that's upsetting? Because I think those are two different things.
The problem is, I think it's both, because I think there's so many different opinions here, like so many different ways to view it. Like I said, if I was to go back completely from an organizational standpoint, the too much StarCraft would be the fact that because StarCraft has become so popular, I mean, there's so many players out there that are asking for astronomical things that can't necessarily be supported. I mean, there's one of the problems, I think. The other problem would go back to tournaments and how tournaments are strictly showing sort of a return for StarCraft, and that's all they're wanting to support. And then there's another completely different view, which is the fact that there's a bunch of other games getting completely blocked out by StarCraft, and that's all that tournaments are doing. So there's a lot of really, just because of this one thing, it has been completely sort of overshadowed in other areas. And I do think that some games would be overshadowed anyway. But it's just, I really think that it just causes this weird dynamic between how organizations deal with players, how players deal with tournaments, how tournaments deal with organizations, and I don't think it would necessarily be there in other games.
So let's kind of just vote on this real quick, and I'm going to go back. John, are you saying yes or no to there too much StarCraft? Just so I have a good feel.
I don't know. Yes or no is such a definitive answer.
Okay, well, maybe not, but it's sort of, have we reached, let me start here. Do you think we're saturated yet, or can we have more StarCraft content?
We aren't yet.
Aren't yet. Jason, what do you think?
Oh, man, on the spot. Looking at all these tournaments coming up, I think we are saturated at this point.
Okay, you got a saturation. Kurt, what do you think?
I say not yet, no.
You know what I think the story is here, and I want you guys, hopefully we'll start an argument, or you'll agree with me. I think the story here is that, unlike any other game, there is just such a skill gap between the top and everyone else. And from an owner's perspective, like Kurt, maybe somebody else, VVV, if you want to use it, anybody that's in this sort of game, you have a couple organizations. EG's got top dominance here, I think, in North America. That's pretty safe to say. Complexity's made some recent moves that put up there. Just talking about North America, then you have Fnatic and SK Gaming. I guess FXO is still sort of in the mix, but really you get this domination, and some people do it better than others. And their players are in very many of these important, right? We've got IPL, we've got MLG. There's playing in Korea, there's GSL, right? There's all these things. Is there too much content? And my guess is there isn't too much content on the top. So if we're talking about, I want to watch Idra, I want to watch MVP, I don't think there's too much content surrounding that. But all the other stuff, I think there is a lot of content, and I think it gets drowned out. Just like I would say that, the NFL drowns out, most other high school or other types of football. Now, you guys are going to come back, and I'm sure you're going to disagree, John, say, wait a minute, I'm in Alabama. It's all about college football. And that is true. We don't really have that second tier, in my opinion, in StarCraft. Again, you may disagree with me. But I don't know if the saturation is on the top. But I do think two things are happening that are noteworthy. One, everybody is seeing what, it could look like. The question now is, just like Idra this weekend at IEM, where not all the top Koreans were there, therefore your win isn't as important, some say. Do we end up now comparing all titles to StarCraft, which I think would be a horrible comparison, because I think, when you look at America, I would say that baseball, football, these have enormous fan base, but that doesn't mean that golf and hockey don't happen, or golf and tennis don't happen, that are absolutely excellent sports in their own rights. So will this be plagued with this constant popularity contest? I mean, I don't suspect most of us refuse to watch golf or tennis because it's not football. The media that surrounds sports covers it all in a very professional manner. If I'm watching Sports Center, I'm going to get a roundup of all the sports, and many sports fans are literate in many different sports. So is it a part also maybe that there isn't enough quality media surrounding esports, so most of the coverage is about StarCraft? because it's organizational driven. I mean, DJ Wheat might be independent, but obviously he's got Sir Scoots on there from EG, so it's a focus on StarCraft Live. That's not a knock on Live on 3 at all. Slasher, I think, is trying to cover a lot of different things, but again, he's reacting to the biggest news, which again seems to be StarCraft. So I'm just asking, when we talk about is there too much StarCraft, one, as I said earlier, we have to define, do we mean that there's too much content or it's drowning out other things? Two, what I am even more concerned with is, does StarCraft destroy anybody else's chance for establishing a quote-unquote eSports title? Because if you're not StarCraft, well, then you're not important. I'm going to turn it back to you, Kurt, and then we'll go to Jason and John. We'll go back the other way. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think there's just so many things to talk about. I think, to answer quickly about the content, I do think there's certainly a lack of content when it comes to especially other games and other titles in esports. That I really, really agree with. I think, to me, if we had, like we've talked about before, if we had more day nines, if we had more people like Adabisi and people like, Nursky and people like the thousands of other casters in StarCraft right now, in many other games, I think things could potentially be a lot different for some games. And we had that at one point in time. I mean, to me, StarCraft at this level, I think everyone would agree that this is something that's sort of untouched and new. But we've seen other instances like this before. We've seen it in Warcraft 3. We've seen it in Counter-Strike. We've seen it in a bunch of other things. So, I mean, I think it's something that we've seen before. And if we would just learn from history a little bit and how to even things out a little bit more, I don't think we would create this bubble. That's what, I suppose is the best way to call it. This, StarCraft II bubble that I'm afraid will eventually just one day kind of pop. And I don't think it means it's going to go anywhere, but I think it could potentially harm how sponsors look at it. I do believe that. And the second thing I wanted to touch about real quick is on what you're talking about, other titles being able to be brought up. I do see that as a problem as well, but I don't know exactly how to fix it either. But I just want to mention something real quick that you mentioned about organizations and this whole thing of having this top tier of organizations. I mean, that's something that we deal with all the time. I mean, I've sent, with Check 6, we've sent almost 60 players. We did the math over the weekend. We sent almost 60 players to the MLG events for StarCraft II over the course of last season, where we only had one player, in this season. And we've hit main stage once. Now, that doesn't say anything against our players. We've put out some amazing players, like TT1, like the Muslim, like not in control, like a few of the other players that were actually in the open bracket, White Raw and players like that. So I mean, we put out some really great players and beat great players in the open bracket. But the problem is that celebrity factor right now is really hard to come over. I don't necessarily think there's the big skill gap that you're talking about, Jerry. I don't see that skill gap being that big. I really don't. I see consistently some of the lower tier players beating some of the top tier players, even at LAN. It's just a problem of actually getting them to play that match, of actually getting to that point. And that's something that's incredibly hard to do at MLG. So
okay, fair enough. All right, Jason, turning to you. What do you think?
I think that you raised a very valid point, Jerry, in that if we had more legitimate, like out there, just really great casters and news organizations, would esports as a whole be more exciting and grow, whether it be in StarCraft or not. And I think that might be where we need to turn, because who knows, maybe we could support even more content if we had the right people in place to cover it. I think back to and we've had a discussion very similar to this in the past. Think about a really shitty Monday Night Football game. You're never going to hear the commentator say something to the effect of, this game really sucks. We're not, this is not going to be a very good game. No, we need the right kind of people in place that are going to say, you know what, this is why this is exciting. These are the statistics. This is what, and if we can get the right people in place that are going to make it interesting to watch, listen to, no matter what the title or how much content we have, if we have enough people in place doing this, maybe we can continue to grow. I mean, perhaps that was a little bit convoluted, but does my point come across?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I think one thing I agree with you on is that, and people say this is a really shitty football game because it's one-sided, but a real expert doesn't look at the game just at the macro level. Sometimes, so let's say I've got the number one team playing a game they're sure to win, halftime's over and they're leading 21-0. Just talk about NFL football here. And what they're going to do is they're going to find something that the losing team did right and focus on it. They're going to say, even though they're down 21-0, I noticed one thing. Normally, we're going to T-Max, the winning team. Normally they run a lot of passing patterns. They really rely on their tight end to mix things up. They may be down 21-0, but they have really shut down the tight end in this match, right? So they'll find something to talk about that's still interesting. And, that's far away from being what I call a forum troll, right? Where it's like, oh, everything's black or white. Everything's hot or cold. Oh, you suck. Oh, they're the best, therefore you're not. It's like nobody cares. Like that's not really what the profession of sport is about. So I think you bring up a good point there when you say, we need more professional trained people who understand how to narrate a story and craft it. I agree. I know we're going to run out of time and some people want to watch League of Legends. So John, I want to get to you and I want to hear your thoughts on this because you actually have a background in sports casting. So you've gotten at least a textbook version of some do's and don'ts, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, what you said is exactly right, and I'll go back to the Puma-Idra match last night. Puma lost 3-0. I don't think it's any question Puma is an outstanding player, though. And, when he gets beat like he did last night, it's not like in some of these games, like a Gears of War or Halo, where it's like, oh, well, person A raped person B, the end, and that's it. It's, Puma's mech play as, in a TVZ was great, but he focused too much on bio. That's why he lost. But, here are things he did good. Here are things he did wrong. Let's see how he changes for next game. Here's what Idra did right. Here's what Idra did wrong. This is why the game lasted longer than it should have. Go into game 2, analyze it. And you have to pull out the do's and don'ts, the rights and wrongs from each player, because just because a player or team loses doesn't mean that they did everything wrong. And like you said, maybe the perfect example is the Carolina Panthers. Cam Newton is doing amazing, and nobody can shut him down whatsoever, but he's 1-3 right now, and there's a reason for that. His defense isn't doing anything. The only good receiver he has is Steve Smith, but he's putting up the numbers. He can rush. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He can do anything. But the team themselves are just not doing a great job. The offensive line isn't doing a great job. He's just an outstanding player. That's why the Bears beat him last week, even though he had a stellar game. So, you have to pull out the positives and say this is why they're doing good, but this is also why they are losing at the end of the day.
That is, that is a perfect example. I'm glad you used it because I watched that game. And to be honest with you, he kept it closer than it should have been. It should not have been that close of a game. If you were to look at all the things that the Bears did right, it was, to me, a one-sided game. And all of a sudden, he would do things, right? I think it's situations like this that as a Panther fan, as a Bears fan, yeah, you know what? I'm confident, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't that confident because they were watching. I never felt he gave up. I never felt that there was ever a moment that, he should have been out. And there were all these things against the Panthers when it came to how they were handling the Bears offense, which I agree with you was poorly, right? Because the Bears are not known for being a powerhouse offensive team. And to me, that just highlights exactly what good commentating does is it talks about what each team does right. Because you know what? I say this to any caster out there. And again, people are going to be pissed off at me. But I was at the Gao Nation tournament this weekend. I was listening to Gandhi and Murray said something about wanting to do this professionally. You know what? You've got to learn that any asshole can tell me what I'm watching, right? Show, don't tell. Don't tell me what's going on that I'm looking at it, right? I don't need it narrated. I don't need you to tell me that, oh, look, he's picking this up. What I need you to do is talk about contextually what it means, and how it works. And I think that's one of the keys. Also,
and I think.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Sorry.
And I know we got away from StarCraft, but I think, to be honest, we are hitting one of the big concerns about the other esports titles, which is the quality of media that surrounds those other titles compared to the quality of media that StarCraft has. But Kurt, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think we need more people that love esports in general, that love competitive gaming and not just StarCraft, or not just whatever game that they particularly like. I mean, I think we really, really need people that just love competitive gaming, like me, like Jerry, and like I think everyone else on here. Everyone loves, I mean, really, I can't think of a single game in competitive gaming that I don't actually like to support. Of course, there's things that we like better. Each one of us has our own little thing, but I mean, I think we need more people that are willing to do, the whole thing. Like, for that matter, I think Slasher is a great person to bring that up. I mean, Slasher, not necessarily a great person to do it, but I think he's doing a great job in showing, the first day of his show, the Fuck Slasher show, he had a TF2 guy on. TF2, a lot of people consider to be a completely dead game. I don't consider it to be a completely dead game, but a lot of people consider it to be a completely dead game, is a waste of time, things like that. He hit the very first segment, he had a TF2 guy on. I mean, that takes balls.
I think it's you guys have this never-ending love for PC shooters. That's my story. Anyway, I want to bring in Asylum. Do you have an update for us on the IEM China match right now?
Oh, right now, eHome is taking a pretty commanding lead against SK. Right now, I believe it's 7-3 in terms of kills. The tower hasn't gone down yet, but it's looking to be a real amazing matchup here in the first game.
All right, so those who haven't watched it, I think we're going to draw this show to a close. As always, it's a pleasure, but first I want to bid a very special farewell to John Lunsford. John, thank you so much for your time and support and all that you've done. And I'm sure we'll see you around, but good luck in doing this professionally full time. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'll be around listening to the whatever you call it, the recap of it afterwards on the site. So I look forward to hearing your interesting discussions and telling you all you're wrong occasionally.
That sounds fantastic, John. Any shout outs before we let you go?
Not particularly. I just want to thank you guys for letting me do this.
John's like, I got to shout out me for finally doing what I need to do, right, John?
Yeah, you say goodbye to everything in gaming. I was like, you got to shout out to nothing at all.
Thank you all, but
that's how I want to leave. When I leave gaming, that's how I want to leave. I'm like, you got to shout out to no one.
Man,
that's awesome.
This is a funny story in the military, in the U.S. Navy, when you're done with a tour of duty, let's say on a ship, right? They'll generally ring the bell twice, and then I'll say so-and-so departing, right? So, like, my final day, first command, ding, ding, Lieutenant Prohaska departing. It's sort of, that is the goodbye. That is the traditional send-off, right? Normally, whenever the commanding officer arrives or leaves on a ship, it's usually the name of the ship arriving. So let's say it's 8 a.m. in the morning, and, the commanding officer of the USS George Washington is going to set foot on the ship. You'll ring 2 bells, and they'll say George Washington arriving, right? And that happens daily. Probably the only person outside of, his bosses, right? So, if the commander of the Atlantic Fleet arrives, the air fleet arrives, you would just hear, 2 dings and then Airlant arriving. So the same thing here. I think if I were ever to leave, I would just ring 2 bells for me and say Lord Jareth departing. That'll be good enough for me. So, John, you take good care. Jason, I think that brings us to the end of the show.
I do believe it does, Jerry. And I have to say, I think this was a really, really great discussion. I want to thank you guys. John, honestly, it's been a pleasure having you as a co-host here on the show. So from me, thank you. And I look forward to kicking your ass this weekend at Devastation, sir.
Bring it.
But
I'm serious. Whoever wins rock, scissors, paper, I want him on the show.
Oh my
and
God.
I hope it's like some 45-year-old dad who knows nothing about competitive gaming, who's going to be the rock, scissors, paper champion. And it's friggin' even better if it's someone's grandmother. I am all for putting that woman in front of a computer and having her talk about her rock, paper, scissors strategy. I want to see it.
Hey, we'll go and tell you.
I want to have a
I'm
thank
booked
our
next week,
sponsors.
sorry.
Oh my God! So I'm gonna try to see if I can make that happen. We'll try to get some guests on next week from Devastation. So expect that. Expect to hear how I choked in Guitar Hero. Oh wait, I mean never mind. But at the end of the day, we want to give a big thanks to all of EV Gaming sponsors. SteelSeries, Gamer Grub, Control Freak, and a big shout out to Power Glove for giving us the music we use for the show. They're amazing. And on top of that, let's give a big shout out, as always, to the entire competitive gaming community. Your feedback and support it's what keeps us going, guys. So please continue shooting it at us. Be sure to stop by our podcast homepage. The website's vvgaming.podbean.com. Additionally, you can subscribe to us over on iTunes. Just search for VV Gaming, and we'll come right up. If you have feedback for us, if you want to give us some opinions, some topics that you'd like us to cover in the future, you can email us. The email address would be thelosersbracket@vv-gaming.com, and you can also shoot us some information that you might have over on Twitter, whether that be feedback or whatever else you want to give to us. The Twitter account is simply Losers Bracket. Once again, really do want to thank you all for tuning in this week. And if you are going to be at any of the events this weekend, whether that be King of the Couch or Devastation, we will be out there. Come say hi. I personally will be out in Phoenix, Arizona at Devastation this weekend. If you plan on attending, please come up and say hi. I would love to meet you. And we hope that you will come back and join us next week for the recap.
All right. Yeah, I didn't actually get a chance to say my shout-outs last week, but I guess just shout-out to Check Six and all the people over there. Thank you guys, number one, for allowing me. This is my first official week on the show. I really appreciate the opportunity. I think we're going to have a good time. Thanks all over the guys at Check Six that help me out daily with everything. Zach, Rob, Evan, Ben, Fuji, all those guys over there. They're great people to have around me. So that's it.
I want to thank all of you. I've already said my goodbyes to John, but Jason, thank you for all you do. I know that having technical difficulties is frustrating as heck for you, being the professional that you are. And, I'm a big fan of we'll work through it. I'm a big fan of working through things. Kurt, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. I am excited that you are going to join us. And look over time as we evolve the Losers Bracket, bringing in different voices from different organizations. Most of us know we're going to be growing as a media site here in November, and there are a lot of people that are trying to do things really cool in competitive gaming, but they may not be as well networked as others, and we may be bringing them on the show to give them a chance to talk about their organization, contribute to the Losers Bracket, contribute their passions to esports. We are in like I said, a very exciting time, and I think there are a lot of people out there who may be trying to do it on their own, and it can be a lonely place. And I know Kurt's been around a long time, and I've been doing this coming up on year 5 now, so been around the block, seeing what works and not worked, and hopefully can give advice or give you a chance to talk about something new and innovative that you're doing. So with that, I want to wish everybody a good night. Thank you for joining us again, and I look forward to catching you next week.
Indeed. Have a great week, everybody. Come see us if you're out at the events, and take care. We'll see you soon.